everyone, and welcome back to the HCW YouTube channel. My name is Rate Wrestle, and today is again the UK Indie Spotlight. And today we've got on one half of the, part of the Bled, one half of the World Tag Team Champions in Kamikaze, and he also goes by the 21st Century Hero, Luke Douglas. Welcome.
Hello.
So how's it going, mate?
Hi, internet people.
So how's it all going?
Yeah, not too bad. Can't really complain. Just I've had a little bit of a break, as it were. Dealing with a few knocks and injuries that come with the territory. Obviously, you would know. You've done it before. You've been in that position. But just trying to get over them mainly. Getting healthy, as it were. So I've just taken a little bit of time to slow everything down a little bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, pretty okay.
Excellent. So we've got you on today to kind of do like a crawl through your career so far. And
a slow crawl.
Slow crawl, if we'll go with that. I've been a part of like half of the start of your career. And then I decided to not be there anymore. But we'll get there at some point.
We'll get there.
So how's it going? Well, we normally start with like, how did you kind of get into wrestling in general? What was your first wrestling memory?
Okay, so my first wrestling memory, I think, was 90? It was 98, 99. I think around that time. I think I was about. Let me see. It's about 4 or 5. It was like 93. Yeah, for about 5 years old. It was a Friday night. Raw was still on Sky, and back in the day, it was on a Friday night. Sorry, it was still on. It was on Sky, but it was on a Friday night. I don't think they showed it live because obviously, with everything. Yeah. So it was like a Friday night. And I couldn't sleep. Kids, what do they do when they go to sleep? They get up, wander about, do whatever, and like. So I walked in. My dad was watching Raw, and I told his dad, I can't sleep. Cool. And then so as they do, they kind of sit your kid next to you. They'll fall asleep eventually, and once the program's finished, it was like go to bed. I did not go to sleep. I watched that show like the rest of. I don't even know how long it was on for, but I was just glued to it. And then obviously, as time went on, it was just like, okay, Dad's watching that wrestling program again. Started staying up, started watching more and more of it, and it just got to a point where it's just you might as well just watch it. So that was about 98, 99, I think. I remember my first WrestleMania was like WrestleMania 15. I remember bits of it. I don't remember like the whole show, but I think that was the first one I actually watched. So been watching it for, I don't want to give away my age, a while. Yeah.
That's fair enough. Yeah, it's like when I was young. I remember my first kind of parts. I can't remember most of what happened, but like as I said, the first memory I had was like when Rikishi ran over Austin. That's the first thing I remember. It's just like...
Yeah. I mean, I think my first like pay-per-view, realistically, my first pay-per-view memory, I think was like I think it was either Survivor Series or it was the one after. I think it might have been Survivor Series because I didn't understand what the hell was going on. It was just like loads of guys just coming out and just wrestling matches and whatnot. And then I think the first thing I actually remember was just like the pay-per-view after, which was Rock Bottom, with the Buried Alive match between Austin and The Undertaker. Not understanding what the hell was going on, why they're wrestling a graveside.
It's awkward.
You kind of get. Now I kind of understand the concept, and I go back and watch that, and I'm just like, wow, I actually remember like most of this.
Yeah.
Which is weird. It's like, I don't want to say it's a repressed memory because it's not. It's just like I just triggered. I remember this bit. I remember that bit.
Yeah.
It's like little things like that.
Yeah, it's like a weird experience. If that's when you feel like, if your first matches you see is a Buried Alive match, it's like, what is happening? What is this a thing?
It's like the first match I really remember. It's like just sets me up for the rest of my life. Just like it's a Buried Alive match. Why not? And I think the first wrestler I do remember seeing though, I think it was like Edge, and I think they were doing the Brood at that point. So again, kind of sets me up.
Dark.
Yeah. you know, it kind of carried over. I mean, I'm trying to be cheery, but it's just like I'm just miserable most of the time. So
I can see it building in you, yeah. The Brood and Buried Alive matches. I can see where you came from now.
yeah, I'm still there basically. I'm still that kid watching Edge and the Brood and Buried Alive matches. I'm still going back and watching those kinds of things.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously from there, when did you decide that you wanted to kind of do it?
When else? Okay, so I kind of decided I wanted to do it like when I was like a lot younger. So
Mm.
I started training again when I was. What was it? I was 20. Was it 22 or 23? Anyway, I started training then, but like when I first looked it up, I think I was about 17, 18, and like all the schools were like elsewhere. There wasn't anything like local
Yeah.
to Birmingham. There wasn't. It was like you had to travel to this place to go to training and whatnot. I think it was that was about 2010, 2011, around that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like it wasn't the massive amount of like places where you can go now and get training, but at that time there was just that it just felt like there was. I mean, there was places around, but there wasn't like accessible to me at the
Yeah.
time. So I kind of like that kind of went on the back burner, but it was always kind of there. It's just like if I get the chance, I'll try it. And then I think I was at an ICW show, and somebody was handing out flyers, and one of them had to be a Kamikaze Pro flyer. I took it, and it had the training on the back and everything when it was still at the Budokan,
Yeah.
round the back of the O2 Academy. And I just thought, what's the worst that could happen? Literally, what's the worst that could happen? You could go suck and never go back again. At least you say
Yeah.
you did it, or you can go realize that it's something you can really get involved with, sink your teeth into. So and it just went from there. To be honest, it wasn't too long after I just really enjoyed it. Kept going back. Didn't mind getting my ass kicked out on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Which is all part and parcel of it. And here we are sitting here. I want to say 5 years later. I want to say 5. I'm going with 5. 5 years later, it's here we are.
Yeah, you've done alright for yourself.
I
But
mean,
yeah, I used to hand out them leaflets out the ICW, so I don't
was
know
it
if
you?
it was me. Yeah, that's just
Might have
like
been you.
that's
That would
awkward.
have been full circle moment.
Yeah,
That.
look where everyone is. No, I'm not wrestling. You're doing what I should be. But yeah, and then obviously we saying we're going through the Budokan. So we kind of mentioned it in George's because he never actually trained at the Budokan, so it was
Yeah,
always rings. Whereas the
yeah,
Budokan was the good old like gym mats, which were
yeah.
like
The
that
blue
thick.
judo mats. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
and a crash
Yeah,
pad, which felt
yeah.
like comfort.
No,
Um,
that first bump, you'll never forget your first bump. But like doing it on those judo mats and then eventually moving into doing it in the ring, I was just like, the difference is insane.
it was lovely, weren't it, in the ring?
It
Thinking
was,
about it,
it,
yeah, it was like he
it
was a
was,
smart man.
yeah, exactly. It's like if you can bump on those blue judo mats, you can bump on anything. I've kind of taken that with me because I'll just bump on anything now. It's just like it's one of the reasons why my back's messed up, my neck's messed up. It's like everything's just messed up. I got bad everything, but I kind of took that forward. It's just like if you can bump on these, you can kind of bump on everything. And then like I say to the guys that have just started training, you are extremely lucky to have started in a rink. You do not understand how lucky you are. But again, it was kind of like I want to say it's kind of our like rite of passage. It's just like we can we did
Yeah,
that. So it was but again at the Budokan it was just a lot of fun. There was never really like a if you don't bump on this it's going to be you're going to be whatever. But
yeah,
like it was always just a nice kind of like it was a nice introduction because in my head I'd only ever seen like schools in like America and stuff like that. So you
hmm
just walk in and you'd expect to see a ring.
Yeah.
That's kind of like that was my thinking, and then I walked in and it was just like there's a crash mat and these blue judo mats, and that was it. But I kind of like, again, like if I didn't enjoy doing it, I wouldn't have come back. So there was a silly part of me that liked bumping on those judo mats, over and over again on a Monday and Wednesday evening.
But yeah, it was just fun. Like even like the people there, like it was a good. Everyone there was like it was a good atmosphere. Everyone as well, and like James builds a good atmosphere.
Yeah,
and,
he does really
yeah,
does.
like everyone that's been on here, it's pretty much the James Appreciation Club. Like Kay Jutler was on here. I've just spoke to him, and he was just like James like builds like the perfect kind of training center.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just
weird. I don't want to. I'm sorry to cut you off, but like it's
yeah.
weird when you look at it. But when you look back at it now, it's just like from my first class. I think there's currently at the minute those who aren't like elsewhere or injured or whatever. It's like there's 4 people that still do it. 4 people that are still like I can't, but 4 people that regularly still come back to like training. So it's like me, Brandon, Chantel, and well, to be fair, it comes back every now and again. It's like Doris as well. So it's like those are the 4 like people that I know that are still like active, like regularly doing a lot of things. I know there's others, and I've probably forgotten, and I apologize for that. Like, but those are the people that I see on a regular, more or less on a regular basis. So it's like that's kind of what I identify with. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to see like how it's evolved and changed as well, from like where we were at the Budokan to moving to the unit to now it's in our own unit, as it were.
Yeah, like I as said, like I just disappeared because I had so much work and I just couldn't come back. But now it's in Digbeth. I should probably come back at some point in life. Just roll up and be like, hello.
Just why not? I came here once.
Just look like a traveller, beard and everything like that. I got lost.
To be fair, like sometimes that does happen at the new unit. Someone will just pop their head in, and it's just like, you come for the training? Like, but no, they just like pop their heads in because they're curious, and it's just like, why are you even here? Just go away, please.
Yeah. So obviously you trained a bit, and then you ended up having it was your first experience was in like I think a rumble, wasn't
it? Yeah. Oh no, my first match was actually in a what was it? It was all I remember. It was in Banbury. What was the name? What's the name of the promotion? NBWA. Right. Okay. Yeah. That's it. Was the old one of the old referees that was with Cami. He I don't know if he was. I can't remember if he was running the shows or he was helping run the shows. But I went down there with Sean Devine.
Oh, yes, yeah.
The Elliot Jordan Experience, and a guy, I don't know if you remember him, Eric.
Yeah, I remember the name. Yeah.
So me and Eric tagged along because we were just, why not? We'll go to a wrestling show and it'd be a laugh. And so Sean and Elliot were already wrestling, I think, in the tournament. And then me and Eric turned up, and the guy turns around and says, "Do you guys want a match?" And was like, looked at each other, was like, hell yeah. So that was so that was NBWA in 2016. There you go. I'm really dating myself by saying these things, I feel. But yeah, that was then. That was my first match, and me and him we were kind of similar heights, but I remember this particular room we both came to about here when we were standing in the ring. So there was no body slams or suplexes or anything of that. Like, it was very ground based, very just like, here's a wrist lock, here's a hammer lock, very basic match to start with. But yeah, it was a fun experience, and my first experience for Kamikaze was in a rumble. I think that was, I'm not sure if it was before or after. I can't remember which if it was or not. But yeah, that was my first experience in a match, and then my first experience with Cammy was in I think it was a roulette rumble, I think, or a battle royal. I'm not sure
Yeah,
which came first.
I can't remember which. I think it was a battle royale, the first one. Yeah, it was 15-man
Yeah.
battle royale because Mika won it.
Oh,
Yeah, because I remember it because because I've got your cage matchup and stuff like that. I remember because that was the one. Oh, you had two Kamikaze appearances. One of them I was in that one, and I'm not even listed. Like the mystery man's not even there.
I remember you were in there. That's
Yeah,
I remember you were in there.
it was an
'Cause I think
awkward
we both
time for myself.
Yeah, I think we both got eliminated at like exact same time or something like that. We just both got like launched off the
What
apron.
was supposed to happen? Johnny Palmer was supposed to
Yeah,
eliminate both of us, but
yeah.
Mika was too busy helping me beat up Sean, and I couldn't get out the spot. And then Johnny had thrown you over the rope, and he just came and found me and threw me over the rope. But we were supposed to just go over both at the same time, but I was
Yeah,
too busy getting beaten up.
yeah. You know, hey, at least you didn't go out first like I did. So
Yeah, we should have.
that's
It should have been us, but I decided to stay in the ring. That's
went into business for yourself, didn't you?
and look how that turned out. Yeah. And then like straight after that was this was the roulette rumble because I think this was one of the first roulette rumbles or something like that.
That was also the show I was supposed to fully debut for Kamikaze. So there was just sort of fly there.
Yeah,
There was I was supposed to date. That was supposed to be my singles match against Sean, and that was when I busted my knee.
doing a moonsault like
Yeah,
a smart man before a
but,
match
yeah.
in training.
2 days before your first match, you decide to bust out a moonsault in a training match, and then look how well that went.
Good
Um,
grief! I couldn't believe it when
I
you
mean,
told me.
I don't think a lot of people could believe it when we told me. It's like I think a lot of people were just like, why are you doing this in a training match? Like at least if you do it in a proper match, at least then you can just say, oh well, you got injured in a proper match. And it's just like not in a training match where you decide it's a good idea to do a moonsault.
Yep,
Yeah,
went well, and
yeah, it really did. It really did.
But yeah, it's and then for anyone that doesn't know, like basically the roulette rumble, it's like Kamikaze's version of the Royal Rumble, but fans pick out the name out of a hat, so you can't script it technically. Well, you
Yeah,
can kind of, but like yeah, so like, and it was
I
the
don't
worst
know. I
thing
don't know.
ever. Like
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it can be just like we like. I'm not giving away. I'm not
yeah,
going to
you
give away
can
too
kind
much,
yeah
but it's
yeah
like there may be like if you've had a match with someone or whatever, you're probably more inclined to
yeah
it's a lot more freelance. You know, you just go out there and just have you know try and win it. Basically, is the best way of like describing it. But usually, you'll see people like if they had a match earlier, they'll go for them. Or if you're in like my case, it's just like I'll just go in and just go with anyone,
smack
like just
people
wrestle
yeah.
it. Yeah, just start throwing super kicks and see what happens. That's
Love a good super
kind
kick.
of a mantra.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mantra. Yeah.
But I don't remember if you remember the first like Roulette Rumble where we were supposed to be a tag team at some point in the future, and so obviously I got thrown in first. They picked my
Yeah.
name out first, and I was like, I was going to be next. Then obviously you came out second,
Yeah.
and then it was just me and you. We're supposed to be a tag team at the point in the future, and it's like, and then we had to batter each other, and then Dave Scott Preston comes down. And it's just like, okay, we're both
Oh,
waiting for him to come in the ring. So we're like, we'll jump him because it'll make more sense. And then he took 15 minutes to jump in the ring and you just clocked me in the ear. That's all I remember is because we were waiting so long, you just absolutely blasted me and I just went down like this. Like Tyson Fury in
yeah.
theory.
Uh, I I do remember that because I do remember we were supposed to be, coming out as a tag team at some point,
Yeah.
and then just like number one and two in
Shafted.
the Rumble, just like standing there awkwardly, just like we they were supposed to just do we just like start lighting each other up or
Yeah.
we just like do something, do it, but yeah. I guess that's just the way I've always been like. I have a tendency of like hitting my tag team partners apparently.
Oh, it went well.
Yeah, it
But
went really well.
so yeah, I had wrote down next deciding to do the moonsault, so I'm glad we went past that. So
Mm.
then you had a few Kamikaze Pro Live matches where you felt people like Sean, eventually Jack Stars, which is a very good match
Yeah,
to pick up on. And then you ended up debuting a little bit later on the Over the Top 5
Yeah.
in a Rumble.
So the what my official debut with Kamikaze was with then with Sean Devine again. Probably again one of my favorite people to work with because it was just we just went
Yeah,
out there and just like because we trained a lot together. We'd like go to different places. We go to like seminars, different training schools, all this and that and the other. We'd always it was kind of like didn't matter how like if we were on the opposite sides of the room in training, we'd always end up kind of like coming together for like those kinds of things, and that's what made those matches so much fun because it was one of those things you just get each other and like I couldn't have asked for a better first opponent.
yeah.
In Cammy, and then Jack was a fun learning one as well because he just knows so much and he can just plan a match like you can give him an idea and he'll just go with it and add to it
Yeah.
and just make it better. I've wrestled Jack a couple of times and it's just really easy because he's just a chill guy as well, which is I know I'm not supposed to say that as a raging heel, but
Yeah, it's because he doesn't look it, does he? Though, if you look at him, he
uh,
doesn't look like he's going to be fine. He just looks like he's
yeah,
going to kick your face in.
yeah, he will let you know that you're in the ring with him, which is great, which is like especially if like but he won't do it in like a malicious way
Yeah,
or
yeah.
anything. Really, 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 really enjoyed working with Jack. And then the over the top 5, I was that was in Stetchford, wasn't it? It was Stetchford,
It was Midway, yeah,
Meadbray. Oh, don't remember. Don't miss doing ring jobs there. To be honest, I will tell you. I will say that.
the grimmest thing in the world. Like to give them like an essence of it. You had to bring up the regs, but they had like a staircase where it went up one level, and then you had a sharp turn and went up the
Yeah,
other way. Trying to bring
yeah,
posts around that, and
yeah.
grim.
Boards, posts. It wasn't so bad when it got to like the ropes and the mats and stuff
The
like that. But
boards. I forgot about how heavy the boards are. Good grief. It's
uh,
like two of us just get.
yeah.
And then if you were at the bottom, just going.
But
Oh God.
that over the top show that was kind of like um that was a real fun because a couple of weeks later a couple of weeks before that it was just like a really messy time for like me like
Yeah.
personally to like when I was told that like you're going to be in the over the top match, it was kind of like it was a really really like okay this is a really cool moment, and it's like it was like a real pick me up as well, and to go and do that it's like I'm not going to get sappy or emotional, I
Yeah.
promise. um but for that, it was just like it was just got like I when I got there, it was just like, all right, you're gonna go in, you're gonna be in there for like 3-4 minutes or whatever, get walloped by someone and get thrown out. I was in there. I think I was in there for quite a while, if I remember rightly, and I was just like, and the last thing I do remember was getting walloped by a chair and then flying over the top rope. So that was fun. But again, I had like it was just a chance to work with like different people. Again, it was a rumble environment, so you get to work with like
Yeah, who you with
different
for the
different
time, yeah.
people at different times. So it was like there was Joseph Connors in there, there was Nathan Cruz, there was I can work with Elliot, Hammer Healy,
Yeah,
Sean Custom,
and then
all
people like
those.
Lana, and I've just saw El
Yeah,
Phantasmo was in there randomly, just thrown it out
yeah.
there. So it's like,
I think he was eliminated before I got out there, but he was in there as well.
yeah,
And yeah, it was kind of it was like a really really fun experience getting to work with all these like different people and uh, I, I'd say not officially, but like debut on the main roster
yeah,
in that kind of way. I mean, my official debut came a little bit late, like singles debut came a little bit
yeah,
later, but like to just like get my name out there to start with the Kamikaze Pro audience in that kind of environment. It was just a really cool feeling.
yeah. And then obviously straight after that, you were rewarded with winning the Kamikaze Pro Live title.
Yeah.
So how was that when you got told you were going to win that?
Ah, little tip. when you're in that kind of like situation, sometimes you will get told like at the last minute what's happening. That's all I'm gonna say on that subject.
Oh, I remember this now. Thinking about it, you didn't tell. You didn't. Was it you didn't know until? Yeah, yeah. Oh God, pain.
But again, that was like a really like it was that kind of like whole period, like from that over the top rumble, so winning the championship. That last half of the year, pretty much of like that year, was just like a really weird, really weird period for me, like personally and whatnot. Again, not going to go into it too much. It's not what we're here for. But to be but like especially on the live brand, it's kind of like because it is like the trainee like development like thing to be told like they want to put the you're basically now going to be the face of this training school. You're the one that's going to be like, we're going to put you on top, like you're going to be the one that's going to go out there and represent the school every single time as the champion, as the best. I'm going to put air quotes there. But yeah, it was it was like a really cool experience, especially as like that was my first championship, and like as it's your home champion, like your home promotion and things like that. It was a really nice experience for me. Obviously, like the things I did with the championship, I always try to like I always took it into like the matches I had with people. I always tried to do something different from the one before, so it always involved me going back and looking at the last match and see what I did, like, and what I can do differently as in this match, like, and always try and tell a story with the matches rather than just having like championship match, scenario A, B, C, D, just going through them. But like, I always try to do like something different for each opponent. It wasn't like I was trying to like. It wasn't like I was trying to like make people or anything. It was just like this person does this, let's do this. We can tell this story. We can do that.
Yeah, it
It's
just
like
makes sense.
it was like some of my favorite times was like as the champion, and especially as like what it led into. For me, it was like a really fun, cool experience, especially like the stuff that I got to do as champion as well.
Yeah, and like you're technically you're the second longest reigning champ of it now, but like Chantal did have it for like 2 years of COVID, so if you get that point.
I mean, I feel it should be a hard pause during that period.
Yeah.
Like it was like a year and a half that basically didn't count. It was kind of so.
Yep.
So second longest, we'll go with that.
Yeah, reigning and defending, at least you did it,
Every single show I'll have,
But yeah, like you defended it a lot as well. Like you defended it against Hammer Healy, Sean Devine, White Tiger of all people, just like know. And then coming up after White Tiger, you end up having I think was this just before the debut of the Bled?
The debut of the Bled was at the 5th anniversary. I want to say 5th anniversary show. I think it was.
Yeah.
At the Irish Centre. I got basically. I was told I'd bring a black hoodie and a black mask and turn up to the Irish Centre. I did, and for what it led into was like a really cool thing because I was just like for the formation of the Bled was just like for the spot it was as well. It wasn't like a small thing. It was just like you're coming out during the main event, like you're doing this, and then this is what's going to happen from here. But that kind of for first and foremost, it was just like a massive like whoa kind of moment. Especially as I was only like it was like a couple of months into like me being like champion, like and Elliot had already been like around for like he was around for like a good couple of years before he got like really regular. Like I think he was around for like a year before he got like really super regular spots. I like that's not to say I wasn't around for like a while. I've been around for a while, but like I'd only really been doing shows for like a year and a half at that point, and to be like kind of thrust into that kind of spot, it was just like, right, basically don't f this up, go out there and do your thing, and then you know. But yeah, that was before the formation of the Bled was before my official first singles match on the main roster, and yeah, it wasn't a bad way to start. I must say it was
Yeah,
it was kind of a fun one.
it's highlight, and like the Bled have been strong ever since. Really, like he's still
Yeah,
going now. Like, and obviously it's always good to be around Elliot. Like
yeah,
one
oh
of
yeah.
my favourite people, Elliot is.
He's one of my best mates in wrestling. It was just like the stuff we just like the amount of times like it was just we just hang out and just like make crack jokes with each other. We'd joke about like Looney Tunes and stuff like that. We kind of like got into a point where it was just like we'd joke about everything. We like our favorite song together was La Bamba. Don't ask, like it was a fun story. Basically, a lot of fun was had when me and Elliot was like together, and like especially as well like learning from Clint.
Yeah,
He's just been like such a like, especially as like his standing in like the UK scene in general. It's like to be able to, and now to be able to say like I'm a tag team partner with a guy who's the best deathmatch wrestler in the country, and
yeah.
the UK, and one of the most respected deathmatch workers in the world. It's kind of it's a very cool experience, I must say.
Yeah, definitely. And like before we go off from Elliot, just like the Elliot in the ring and like the jokes you could have with him, like he'd just shout like when he'd try and pin someone, but he wouldn't hook the leg. So you shout hook the leg, and the next thing he does is hook the leg. And I did it.
Yeah,
Why is it not pinned? And Oklahoma, that's annoying.
yeah.
Oklahoma. And then like the Bled formed, and then I remember this match, and I don't remember why this happened, but you did fight Bram. In like a no disqualification match. How did you end up in this match?
It was a surprise to me as well.
Yeah.
It was a massive surprise to me. I think what had happened, it was it'd been announced that I think it was Bram versus Clint, and then for some reason or another, I wasn't really privy to details. Clint wasn't going to be there. I think it was whether he was on holiday or was just away for that day or whatever. Next thing you know, my phone pings to say I've been tagged in something. I look at it and I see the match graphic, and that was how I found out. It wasn't like a nice message that we're going to do this.
This is happening.
This is happening. It was like, no, here's a match graphic. Good luck, kid. So my official debut, main roster debut in a singles match was in a no disqualification match at the Cadbury Club against Bram. Yeah, and my dad turned up to it, and he liked Bram more than me that day. So.
And how do you think that match went? Like, in all honesty, of no DQ style,
You can tell I was nervous for a lot of it. Like, I wasn't nervous about like the stuff that was going to happen, because if there was anything that I wasn't comfortable with, I would have like 100% said. But if you go back and watch that match, I struggled with setting up a table. Bearing in mind, like, to be fair, it was a pasting table, so
it's not like
they're not like the nice tables you see on TV, right? So it's like flip the legs out. No, it's just like you got these wiry little things, and like you turn it over and it might break and things like that. And then there's that, and then I struggle to get a chair into like the corner, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is taking me too long. I finally figured out how to do it, and I got a nice big clap, to which I gave them the old one finger salute. Even though it was quote unquote like supposed to be a family show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like everybody gets one. Even in a PG movie, everybody gets one.
I think you get more than one, though. I'll be honest.
I do push it to see how it's like, but yeah, there was like little things like that, and everything else was just like I had like a lot of fun doing it. Like I'd always thought like, maybe eventually I'll be able to do like a no disqualification match or something along those lines. To have it essentially as your first match on the main roster. It's just like, okay, this is happening. I'm totally happy and cool with doing it. And that was it. It was a nice. I guess it was an introduction to say that, like, it was a nice introduction to say the least.
Yeah, and then obviously with the Bled, you kind of the remnants of that, you were feuding with Cage Jutler for a lot of the start of it, because obviously he was the champ, and Clint screwed him. And then so you had a few matches, like another no disqualification match because you're the king of them. It was yourself and Clint versus Kay and Tristan Archer, which
Yeah,
is,
again, that was my first two matches on the main roster were no disqualification matches. So there was a kind of a precedent set for that one. Yeah, again, to be working with guys like Kay and Tristan Archer was just like, especially like my second match, guys that had like loads more experience than me. I mean, Tristan Archer, for example, he was in the Cruiserweight Classic, so it
yeah,
was just
definitely,
like,
yeah.
to be working with like guys like that, and again, just like to be able to see how they operate, like they work matches and stuff like that. It was like it's basically, you can't get much. I mean, you can watch a match and kind of like study them, but to be basically you're in the match and you're watching them up close, how they work and things like that. So that was a really good learning experience. Again, no disqualification match. I took a table bump. In the first. My first massive bump in a no disqualification match was a power bomb off the top rope through a table and thumbtacks. My second big bump was a power bomb through a table onto the hard floor at the Cadbury Club. Now, that Cadbury Club floor was very, very, very solid. There is no bouncing.
Yeah,
It was
no.
just, I went straight through them. Ow! It was a short drop and a sudden stop. With the one through the table, I think it was a video I had for like the longest time. I when I go through the table, I kind of bounce. So I go through the thumbtacks once, bounce up, and go through them again. But yeah, again, the table bump for the Cadbury Club, it was it kind of became like a thing that just happened for me. There was a couple more table bumps along the way, I think, at the Cadbury Club. But yeah, the first two matches I had with like the no disqualification, again, were like I had so much fun doing them. There's nothing like like when you have like a great singles match, it's like you feel really good, and when you have a really good no disqualification match, you feel like really good. And when you have matches in general,
Yeah.
and they go well, but like I think there's just something about like having no disqualification match. Like for me, the adrenaline just goes a little bit like more because you've got that added element to it now. You've got more things to do, ways to be creative, and have a little bit more fun with it. So I really enjoyed like my first two matches for sure.
Yeah. Like Anders said, you got opponents, you're fighting Bram, and then you're fighting Tristan Archer and Cage Jutler next. You're not getting thrown in the deep end at all.
I mean, that started off in the shallow part of the pool. No, it was just it was basically thrown in. I'm not even going to say into a pool. It was just thrown into the middle of the Atlantic Ocean with no armbands, no nothing. It's just like, okay, swim.
Yeah.
I want to say I did. I think I did okay because I'm still here. I'm still around.
You did alright,
so,
surely. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn because that's not what I'm about. But I think I did okay.
Yeah. And then, like one match I want to bring up. It's more. This is on a live show, but it's always a good match. Is when you faced Marshall X, because I always feel like that's because obviously you trained yourself. It's always good to finally face him in an actual match.
Oh yeah. Facing it, like the original match for that was supposed to be me versus Doris, and Doris was, unfortunately, I think he was injured for that show, and yeah, so it was me versus Marshall X, and it was just one of those matches where because it's your trainer, so there was always, it's not like an added pressure. It's just like he knows what you do, you know what kind of he does, and the way he works and things like that. So, and to be able to work Marshall in that kind of like in a live environment as well, where he thrives because it's easy for his character to thrive
Yeah.
in that environment. Yeah, I really enjoyed having that match. He was very open to the stuff that we were going for, because it was there was maybe a little bit of I think there was a little bit, me and Doris had a little bit of a back and forth and whatnot on your social media accounts and things like that. And then for that to and then I think I cut up a promo before it, where it was just count the race out and make me a winner, did rah rah rah, and then eventually I had the match with Marshall, and again I just had a lot of fun doing that. I think we both just went in and just hit each other with a hit. It was Pat Ben, as hit me with your best shot kind of match, and those are the most I'm not gonna those are the most fun sometimes. You just go in and just
whack each other.
you just go a little bit nuts with it. It's again going back to the me versus Sean. It was just hit me with your best shot. Let's see what we're working with. Those are the kind of matches I really liked, and those are the matches they come on, they become more and more my kind of thing. I still do I know I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but those are the kind of matches I really enjoy doing, because it just adds that little extra bit into what you're doing. But yeah, that was that Marshall X one again. There was a lot of fun because it was it's always especially as you're facing your trainer for that, it's always kind of that in your back of the head. It's just I'd love to wrestle whoever you started, wherever you trained. It's that always in the back of your head. I'd like to wrestle my trainer, see if I can go up against him, her, so I again really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun doing it. I would love to do it again at some point. I will throw that out there. I know he made a triumphant return at the last live
show. He made a return, all right.
I mean, I'm just you never know. You never know in wrestling. You never say never. I mean, the amount of time Terry Funk retired and came back, you just never say never anymore.
Yeah, so a quick segue to that. But Marshall X hasn't been around for ages, so the first thing he does, he comes back, clocks a young boy, we go a young wrestler, and then demasks him. Oh, that's the ultimate heel, just instantly back and already on top of being a heel. Oh god.
Hey, heel matches work, man. Kurt Angle vs Triple H, Royal Rumble 2001. There you go. There's a useless bit of wrestling. I've never.
It sounds bad, but I've never been so happy to see it as well. He's just beating up the Kamikaze Kid, but it's also there's Marshall X demasking him.
Yeah, it's you haven't seen. It's when you haven't seen someone in such a long time. You're just no matter what they do in wrestling, they're gonna get cheered.
Yeah,
they're gonna get cheered. No matter unless they do something really, really. I mean, that was really, really.
It was up there.
But at the same time, it's just you haven't seen him in ages. It's yes, come on, he's back.
And he's already ruining people's lives.
Exactly. Can't go wrong with that.
No, definitely. And then obviously straight from there, you had a break in between your no disqualification matches to fight Jack Stars again, but then you decided to have a death match straight afterwards. So and
within my first 4 months on the Kamikaze Pro main roster, as it were, I had 2 no disqualification matches and a death match.
And it's it's against Spike Dre and Jimmy Havoc. It's kind of like your death match, and then Clint's in there as well, so you just know it's going to be chaos.
It was very, very chaotic, I will say. Again, it was always something that I wanted. Death matches. I've always appreciated the style. I've always liked the style because it's adding something. It's adding something more into a match. It's that's something I'll always try and do for every single match that I'm kind of in.
Yeah.
I'd add that little bit of extra. But then when you get that kind of free reign with like a death match or a no disqualification match, it's like, again, it's just you go out there and have like, it doesn't look like it, but you go out there and have fun. But yeah, the death match, it was something I really wanted to do. Because, you know, again, I appreciate the style, I like the style, and to be able to go out there and do it with whoever I was in the ring with, it was. I was going to say it was a very nerve wracking thing as well, because it was kind of like, you know, you do kind of have that in the back of your head. It's like, you know, you got to get this, get this right.
Yeah.
Because something goes wrong, it could go wrong. But again, everything went really well. I still want to do them. I still want to do more. I want to do more. I didn't feel like that so much after, but like
Yeah,
now looking back, it's like I really want to do more of them. And it's just eventually, you know, I feel it will happen. You know, it's not happening at the minute. Don't mind that, but like I'll always say, look, but hopefully it will happen again, because I had so much fun like doing those matches. You know,
yeah, and to be fair, you're hanging around with Clint, so there is a chance eventually
there
he'll bring you
there is
along somewhere.
there is a strong chance of, you know, that happening probably at some point if in the future.
Yeah, and how was it like taking a light tube? That's normally what people bring up.
Oh, it's okay. It was a weird feeling because like my adrenaline was going like a mile a minute
Yeah,
during that thing. I was just, you know, I got paper cuts. I had like pins sticking in me and God knows what else. And like when it came to like taking the light tube, it was because I took it all basically on my arm and my like part of the
yeah,
side of my head. And when I took it, it was kind of like it was a weird feeling, because if you watch that part of the match, you kind of see me when I take it. I kind of like tighten up.
yeah,
It's a weird feeling. It's a weird sensation. It's kind of like I kind of like froze up and was just like I didn't. It wasn't like going into shock.
yeah.
I don't want to say it was like that, but it was just like, because it was just like such a foreign experience at that point.
Yeah,
You know, for that to happen. I mean, I think I got hit with one like a little bit earlier, but it was more like that one was to the, but that one was like the headbutt
yeah.
through
So
it.
it's kind of shock
So yeah,
mainly.
it was kind of just like, it was all like kind of isolated there. But to get like a full on whack with one is like a different kind of experience. So when that happened, it was just kind of like, okay, that just happened. Like you've got, and because it was, like I said, it was just like I think the first time I got hit one was like the headbutt. Um, when that happened, it was like, because it kind of went everywhere with my arm. I've kind of still got like a few like
Yeah,
scars and for it. Like the main ones, kind of like all went in and around here for when that happened. So my arm got a little bit messed up from that, because
yeah.
it's glass,
It's glass.
especially if
Yeah,
it's glass. You know, the body's not supposed to like come into
yeah,
contact with it. You know, so that's why it was kind of like. But again, it was like once the adrenaline starts kicking, like you're kind of like, okay, that happened. You're okay. You've got all your limbs intact. You're fine. You get up, carry on. It was kind of like that was kind of like the thing I was going through. The only thing I think I didn't do in that match, I think I'd done the stable guns, pins, paper cuts, light tubes. The only thing I didn't do was barbed wire. That was the only thing I didn't do. I think,
next
if I'm not,
match.
I think I'm not. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was the only thing I didn't do. I did pretty much everything else.
Four
Everything else,
months.
yeah,
Yeah, four
everything
months
else.
into your roster. Yeah,
You know, you can't really script that, can you? It was just like, yeah, it's just one thing after. It was just basically massive escalation very quickly. It was just like there was no
yeah, to
kind
the
of,
moon. Yeah,
yeah,
so this is happening.
yeah. There was just no kind of like easing into it. Oh, we'll do one later down the line. Like it's just like, nope, 4 months in. There you go. There's two no disqualification matches in a death match. You're welcome. You ask to do them, you get them.
Yeah, and then surprisingly, the viewers wouldn't be surprised by this. 2 weeks later, you did an Inferno match. No, yeah,
Go forward.
but yeah, and then
I did a very live match.
you're gonna get there. It's just you've done it enough, you know.
We'll just turn up one day and it's just like, yeah, there's a grave outside. We're not sound. We'll just make
It's
something
not
out
a thing
of it.
James would do though. We'd just go, oh, by the way, Luke, that's yours. But yeah, so then after that, you were still defending the Kamikaze Pro title, but you eventually lost it to Chantal Jordan, and then you won it back, and then you lost it again to Chantal Jordan.
Yeah. A week back, that was kind of like a. That was all in the space. I think that was all in the space of like a month as well.
Yeah.
So obviously Chantel had that match with Joey Janela.
Mm-hmm.
I come out being a dick, and I get my comeuppance for it. I lose my championship. Like pretty much, like Chantel just wrestled like a 25 minute match or half an hour match or whatever it was, wrestling on pretty much all over Coventry, and then I get my ass knocked out in like a few minutes by a kick to the head, and let me tell you, they are not pretty.
Oh yeah.
So when you get hit, you get hit. That's the thing, and and then I think like 3 or 4 weeks, three weeks later or something, I win it back, and then a week later I lose it again in that no disqualification match. Again, like Chantel, again one of my favorite people to just work with in general, because it's just like she's nuts.
Yeah.
And deserves all the success she's getting right now, because she's just like, for like how young she started and whatnot. It was just like
work ethic again. It's work ethic though with Chantal. She deserves it because she's everywhere and she works.
She's everywhere. It's like it's not phoning it in. They're not doing like the same things over and over again. It's like it's kind of always something different, which is the key to success. Always doing, not just like recycling everything over and over again. But like those, I was like the 3 matches. Obviously, the first one was probably about however long it was, 5-6 minutes, whatever. Like between me jumping in the ring, getting knocked out, walking out, losing the championship. So the next one at the anniversary show, where we just went out there and just we just had like a fun match, and then to that no disqualification match at the Cadbury Club, still probably ranks up there as one of my favourite matches that I've had, because it was just from what I've been told, it was just like everyone that was watching that match was wincing at
good.
Everything. It wasn't a case of like we're going to go out there and we're going to do this and that. And I think everything that we did was, I think, wince inducing. It was kind of like what we was going for. It was just like these two are actually fully trying to kill each other. I think it got that way for a few people, actually, thinking that we were trying to kill each other. And again, like definitely up there as one of my like favorite matches, because it was just one of those times where just like everything kind of worked well, and everything that you did like worked the way you wanted it to. There wasn't really, I can't really like. Again, this is probably the only time I like toot my own horn, but it's just the way it worked. It was it just worked so well. And again, I really enjoyed those. I really enjoyed those trio of matches.
And then, like a big match that I always point to is the two, well, you'd say technically the 2 biggest factions that have been in Kamikaze, which was the Bled versus the Bigger Picture.
Mm-hmm. That was a funny, because when I first came into Kamikaze, it was like the Bigger Picture were the faction. The faction everybody hated, that everybody wanted to see get the comeuppance every single show. and for that transition when they split up to where we got to the Bled became that faction.
Yeah.
It was and for then that big match to happen, obviously it was teased over like the months previous, but like for that match to happen again, to be in there with Marshall, being with your trainer, just going against those three guys, it was just like a really fun experience. And this is like, I would say, like Robbie's suicide dives are probably one of the best ones because he will just literally just launch himself at you, and you've got no. He will get you. That's the thing. He's
Even
just,
if you're running away, just like, no, it's happening.
The thing is, I think he actually can fly, which is the thing, because he just went straight through me.
Stupidly impressive.
If it was a cartoon, it'd just be my legs standing there, and just like my body was on the other side of the room at that point. Again, just one of those. Again, it's just one of those things where just you went out there and just it was just fun. There was because of like the story was just there. It wasn't like it had needed like a massive year-long build-up or this, that, and the other. It was just like it was there. The story was there. This faction hates this faction, or this faction doesn't, whatever. Yeah. And it was just like, let's just go and see who's the best. And again, just a lot of fun in that match.
Yeah, look, you've had some great matches, and it's like you look at the build up of it, and then unfortunately, like a small thing happened called COVID that kind of stopped the world. Yeah,
yeah. I think the last match, like the last show, it was just like I teamed with Elliot and then I teamed with Clint.
Yeah.
At least I got those two tag matches in, and then like the world kind of stopped at that point. So that was a fun 2 years. I must say that I'll never get that time back.
Heavily stopped, yeah. And then like what we normally discuss, like here, so we normally kind of transition to what kind of music you in and stuff, like what you enjoy listening to.
Country music. Yeah, I have a very like wide range. It's mostly like rock, alternative, punk rock. I mean, look,
you don't hold it, yeah.
It's kind of obvious. At certain points, like I still have my emo fringe. I've less hair now, but I still try and maintain.
Yeah, made it work. Yeah.
Yeah. Just mate, I'm just leaning into it now. Like, but again, like over the past like few years, especially like during lockdown, I was just like listening to just a lot of like, again, I was like starting to get to like Americana country music and things like that, and it just kind of, I have probably one of the worst taste in music you'll ever, if you look through my like Apple Music or my Spotify or whatever, and it's just like you listen to that and then it just be like it just carry on, snowball like that, and just like that's why if anyone said, oh, choose some music, it's just like, don't let him choose. It's like, okay, fine, that's cool with me. I'll just sit in the corner with my headphones in, listening to
chaos.
Yeah. Listening to Waylon Jennings or whatever. Just okay, cool. Yeah, that's just me. I'm probably going to put a lot of people off me by saying that, but
character's ruined.
And I've just ruined the illusion of me coming out with like a studded jacket and like probably coming out to like heavier music, and like everyone's just like, hey, listen to that. It's like, yeah, that's me.
Who would you say is your favourite artist of all time? I know that's very much it's hard to kind of typecast one guy or band.
I don't know. The thing is, I don't have because there's so many like influences. If I had to pick one, I suppose the first band I really, really, really liked and still do would be Blink-182.
Yeah.
But again, it was just like, because I grew up in that magical period of like 2000 to like 2008, 2009 of just like everybody had like fringes and whatnot, and it was just like there was Fall Out Boy, there was Green Day, there was Blink-182, Taking Back Sunday, Alkaline Trio. Like, listen to all those kinds of things, and there's still like bands that are like that are still kind of like in and around and everything. Obviously, music's moved on from like where it was, 10, 15 years ago. But my music taste, my music taste hasn't changed that much since I've still listened to all those kinds of like bands and stuff like that. Maybe the earlier stuff more than like kind of the newer stuff. I mean, but that's because like I'm getting to that age where it's just like back in my day. I don't like that.
And if we're going for that, we always mention as well, what's your favourite film? If you were a big film guy, anyway.
Okay.
Spot questions. Film. I like these.
Favorite film, probably. I'm going to go with an easy one. Star Wars, Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, because the bad guys win.
There you go, living the gimmick.
Again, this is why it kind of makes it easy. It's just like because the bad guys, but the Empire. I do just feel like the Empire Strikes Back it's probably my favorite Star Wars film, so I'm probably going to go with it as one of my favorites. Like my favorite film. Again, I watched like for everything I watched, it was just I think it's mainly because I'm just looking at like something to do with Star Wars, so it's just like, let's go with Star Wars. I mean, it's an easy answer, but
it's your answer. That's all that matters.
I mean, it's not like I've got a Luke Skywalker tattoo on my leg. There's a fun fact for you. It's why
Well, this is what it's all about. This podcast, fun facts.
Peeling back the curtains.
Eventually, like a few years' time, I'll get one of them fun fact tweets where I'll just post out stuff like that. Luke Douglas has it.
Luke Skywalker tattoo. Yeah. On his left leg, if anyone's wondering.
Left leg. There we go. That's what I wanted to ask next. And then carry on.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to segue, but if you're going to carry on with Star Wars, we can go back.
Segue. Just like, as long as I don't get asked to like get it out on like the next show, just like because it would be kind of awkward. Because like I still wear the world's skinniest jeans. People wonder how I get into them, and I'm just like very awkwardly. It's like you ever that episode of Friends where Ross wears the leather trousers. It's that
peeling them off. And are you a gamer at all, or?
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed games. I'm not saying I'm too much like a massive gamer, but I do enjoy video games.
What have you been playing recently?
Recently, I started playing Ghost Recon. I can't remember which one it's called now, but it was on my Xbox. But again, something that I've just started again because I'm just like I keep seeing like videos pop up of it because obviously with the new one being announced soon, going back to the way it was, I was just like, well, I'm going to do it. So I started playing the first Assassin's Creed again. Okay. So and then you know what? Because I think between 2 and I want to say Black Flag was probably the peak of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, going back and playing Assassin's Creed 1, knowing I can't do the things I did with, like, in Assassin's Creed 2.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Flying higher and things like that. I'm just, like, I'm frustrated when you can't just, like, there's the ledge right there, just grab it.
He can't swim either, if I remember. As soon as he touches the water, death. It's like, what's happened?
Like, instant death. Like, oh, God. I'm like, again, it's like, I do enjoy like history and stuff like that. Again, like I'm just leaning into the nerd thing right now. I do enjoy like history, like when I'm working or if I'm just like if I'm reading. Again, steering into the nerd thing. I'll be listening to like a podcast. Say if it's like I'll listen to like a couple of the wrestling ones and I'll listen to like the history ones as well. But like Assassin's Creed, the original was set. Like, I've listened to a lot about like the Crusades and stuff like that. Because again, it's like it covers kind of like 2 of the things I'm interested in, like history of like religious history and stuff like that. I'm not really religious. It's just like the history is kind of like
fascinating,
Yeah, it is exactly. And then like the Crusade period in for like the Templars and stuff like that. I do enjoy that kind of like history period. So it's like again, it just like covers off like a lot of like my favorite things about history.
Yeah,
as
I
well.
didn't know you were massive in because I'm massive into history as well. So I
Yeah.
should have known this. Like with the Templar, have you read any kind of Dan Jones books? Because he's a very good
Uh,
one if you get Templars and the Crusades and stuff.
no, I am always on the lookout, but so Dan Jones, I will
Dan
like.
Jones, yeah, he's big. Yeah, because I just so is that your favourite like period of history, the Crusades and stuff?
Uh, it's one of my favorite. Again, I have many. It's not. I can't
I
just
love
pinpoint
history.
just one. Yeah, yeah. I love history. Like I mean, I was doing like some stuff about well, I wasn't doing it. I was listening
Yeah,
to some stuff about like the Black Plague and things like that. So I love the darker
the
parts of
Dark
history.
Meadow,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, like different forms of execution and stuff like. Again, it's just kind of
Yeah,
like
your character building,
kind of
it.
see, yeah, you can kind of see where like I was the little shy kid in school with like the emo fringe down here, just like loving history, but I also love sports as well. So go figure. I just
Yeah,
surprised a lot of people by like being that way and then being
diverse.
really good.
Yeah,
Yeah, being really good at like sport as well. It's like kind of like it was just a mind,
you've ruined
a
school.
mind. Yeah, I ruined school for a lot of people.
Yeah. But yeah, I just like except with the history and stuff like because I read a lot and like I'll get weird looks to read on the bus. Like I'm
Yeah,
reading about Pol Pot at the moment on the bus and be like, "Why are you reading about Pol Pot?" And it's like it's interesting. And just feel like just me reading like Stalin or Pol Pot and I'm like,
yeah.
we probably should talk about wrestling again.
Yeah, I think if we kind of move on because
Yeah,
we're kind of
history
getting
podcast.
sidetracked. Yeah, there you go. Like the world needs another podcast that's doing about
Yeah,
history.
I might just
But
quit this and we can start a history podcast and I'll
yeah,
just
why not?
segue it. Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
I've got a few things that we could get into. Like, that's again wrestling. Moving on.
Wrestling. So yeah, COVID finished, and then you came out of COVID winning another title with Kamikaze, the tag title with Clint.
Mhm.
So that was your first main roster title. How
Yeah.
was that?
Oh, fun. I was very like that match, especially was just like I got my ass handed
Yeah, it
to
was
me.
fun.
Like,
Not to that
yeah,
part.
well, yeah. Like if you watch that match, I think I have two offensive moves that entire time. I literally spent it just getting my ass handed to me. I will put £2 in the swear jar. Um, yeah. So that, but again, to be in the ring with like those guys, the 0121, Young Guns, and Sunshine Machine. It was
Yeah.
just like okay, and then there's my simple ass in there again, £3. Then there was like my I was just there, just like,
Hello.
yeah, hey guys, how's it going? Like, but to win the tag team titles with Clint, it was kind of like, um, again, it was just a guy that like just helped a lot with me, like, wrestling wise, and just like a guy that kind of like when I first started to come in Kamikaze shows, it was just like a guy I kind of like really like looked up to and things like that. Might sound cliche, but like it was like, but yeah, it was just a really cool moment for me, especially. Um, and yeah, it's like during after that match, I was definitely glad for that match to be over. I
um,
enjoyed it thoroughly, but like the next day, I was very sore.
explain to people that haven't seen the match how much Clint helped you in that match.
Uh, he helped me. He helped me a lot. He helped me like win the match. He helped me win the match. That's the main thing. Um, yeah, so that match it was kind of yeah, he got injured very early on. It was a very very serious injury, as like
Yeah,
you know as it was.
serious.
You know, and, I did the best I could. I was trying. I was really fighting, really fighting. Fighting from underneath the underdog as always. Like pit, like sometimes the crowd doesn't appreciate an underdog, but like I was really
Yeah.
going for it. And then Clint bravely came out at the end, and won us the match, which was like he didn't he showed a lot of bravery in that.
Yep.
It was like a really cool moment.
What a hero. That's
Uh,
And so we'll carry on. What do you want to be doing in the future? Like, where do you want to be going with Kamikaze? And like, obviously, future onwards.
in the wider spectrum of things, like I'll start with Kamikaze. With Kamikaze, I want to do as much as I can, as not as quickly as I can because you know some of these things take time. But I want to do as as much as I can, especially as like when people always talk like your own promotions and stuff like that. That's like I want to do like matches like that everywhere. It's not just like, but obviously for your home promotion, it kind of hits different.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just want to do as much fun stuff in Kamikaze Pro as possible. Going forward, just I've done some really cool things in like so me and Elliot do it like coming out of lockdown. Me and Elliot did the tag stuff with Project Killjoy and SWW, which was again a lot of fun because it was just two idiots just going out there and just having a laugh, just being doing what idiots do and just I really enjoyed that. I'm doing some really cool stuff with BCCW at the minute. Those guys have been like really, really cool with me. Like put me into the ring with some like new, like guys that I've seen around like the Midland scene and like further afield, obviously. And then being able to like work those guys, it was just like a really, really fun experience. Worked a little bit with Wolfram. Again, always fun working there. Yeah, and to be fair, just like if someone wants me around, if they want the 21st century hero as the good guy or the bad guy, I don't whichever, if they want me around, I'm quite happily, I just want to like it's I just want to do this and like have as much, do as much as possible in the time you have, like because you're not going to be able to do this forever. Like let's
I don't
being
know.
real,
Some people can.
really. Yeah, some people can. That they're the smart ones, but like,
Or Ric Flair.
yeah, okay, but like for me, it's just like I want to just do as much as I can, as long as I'm like I always say, as long as I'm enjoying myself doing this, like because there's no worse feeling than it's just like when you're doing something for the sake of doing it. I'm still loving doing this. I like as a bad guy, as a good guy, as just like we don't know what to do with this guy, like that's it's just like going out there, just enjoying yourself. Again, like I'm gonna ride it until the wheels fall off. I'm having fun. I'm doing like I'm helping like the guys at the Kamikaze Pro Dojo. They're coming. They're asking me for advice. I'm probably the worst person to ask for advice. It's just like, should I jump off that? Yeah, you should.
Just before a match.
Yeah. Yeah, right before a match. It's just just do everything right with that. But yeah, again, it's like really, really just like I'm just having a lot of fun at the minute. Like, and however far I go, however far I don't go, as long as I'm enjoying myself, because there's no if you're hating everything you're doing, like I'm currently not hating it. I'm loving it. Like it's just fun. Like all the shows I'm involved with at the minute are all just like really good vibes. Like no backstage drama. Yeah, shenanigans. People like there's none of that. Everyone's like cool, chill, and they're always that like the shows I'm on. They've always been like good to me, and like I hope like in the future I'm going to be more play. I get to like wrestling more places because I want to wrestle as many different people as possible before this kind of goes away. And getting I'm getting a bit older now. I will say I'm a bit more grey. I've less hair on my head than when I first started, and I don't want to be. I want to be doing this for as long as possible against as many different people, and then one day I wake up and I just like I can't do. Or like I've had my fun. Let's let's go find something else to do. Or I will say like there is a couple more things I'd like really like to do. And again, but they're definitely on the list. Like guys who want to wrestle, guys, girls that want to wrestle. Things I want to do, like matches I want to be involved in. Like they're kind of like they will kind of take priority, and then as we go forward.
But yeah, we normally end it up on a hypothetical. So it's pretty much who do you want to wrestle in the future, like dream match, and then who would you wrestle live, like retired/dead? Who would be your ultimate dream match that way as well?
Okay. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to say my dream match right now, the match I really want right now, is a match that I mentioned earlier that was supposed to happen and still hasn't. We've been involved in matches together, but we haven't actually gone wrestled one-on-one, and that is Man Like Reese.
Ooh. Yeah, it's mental that hasn't happened. Thinking about it,
I was just thinking about it. It's just like it's been I haven't wrestled him at all. Like I've wrestled in matches with him. So it was in a ladder match. We've been in tag team matches. We've been in like 6-man tag team matches, but we never actually wrestled one-on-one. And so that's something I'd really like to happen. Like retired? Is it retired or dead?
Royal passed away. Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, that's kind of put me on the spot. That one. Retired or passed. It might take me a while, but
I'll throw some names out there. One thing about it then, you versus Bruno Sammartino.
Okay. Okay. Eddie Guerrero.
That would be a good one, yeah.
I just looked at it right there. It was just like, I think, Eddie. I would have said. I could have said Edge, to be honest, but obviously he made his
comeback. Could be a dream match still. That could happen.
That could still be a dream match.
You could retire him.
I don't want that pressure, man. I do not want that. That's the pressure you just don't want. I guess. I guess Eddie Guerrero would be one. No, in fact, take that back.
Oh, here we go.
I don't actually take that back. I would have loved to. Eddie Guerrero. I'm just going to really throw a curveball out there. I think he's retired because I only see him really doing. I know he had a match like not long ago, but I know he does a lot of producing right now. It's the Steve Corino.
Yeah, he doesn't really wrestle anymore. Yeah, it's very like he had a match with Colby recently. But he doesn't.
I know. But because the other, I was just watching his like 2000s. Was it 2000 run where he was like he had in the match with Dusty and then ended the year as ECW champion. It was just like it was mad to see him from when he was first starting, just to like where he was. And like so, yeah, I'd say Steve Corino because I just think it'd just be good fun thing to do.
Style match as well, to be fair, especially like his match against Colby Corino. If you get to see it, it's insane because obviously Colby's his son as well, and it's like good grief.
Again,
he doesn't take chill.
Like, he'd always end up, I think he was the I think he was the catalyst for like Triple H just bleeding everywhere in every single match he was in, because it was just like it could just be having I think he was having a singles match with like Jerry Lynn, and then something happened, and the next thing you know, he's just bleeding like from everywhere, and you're just like, how is this?
It's like Moxley now, isn't it? Yeah, it's like Moxley blinks, and it's just what's happening.
It's like Moxley's cutting a promo. Next thing you know, it's like. But I was like, okay. So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna say Steve Corino. I'm gonna go with that. I would love to. I was still thinking when I said Eddie Guerrero, but I'd love to wrestle Eddie Guerrero. That would have been insane. He was like the best ever. And then, but like for me, it would have been it would be Steve Corino. Just because I think it'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, is a guy like when I was like had long blonde hair. If you noticed the way I was like,
you kind of
taping myself, whereas like I was taping the one wrist, like the one fist, and like had the whole thing with the blonde hair and things like. It was something that looking back at it now, it's something that I only noticed like when I was looking back through a picture. I was just like, was this by accident? or was this like, you know,
Just walked into your
subconsciously?
mind, weren't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I didn't mean to like do it, but it was just that just something I just started. I was just doing at the time. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that is your pro wrestling journey then so far. So
Yeah.
what we do now, you plug your social medias. Your Twitter's been underneath your name the whole time. You can't see it, but it's been underneath your name.
Exactly that. So yeah, Twitter. I think it's at Luke_Hero 21.
It is. That's the only one I'll know. So you're on your own now.
Okay. At 21st Century Hero is Instagram. Don't have a Facebook page currently. I probably should, but I'm terrible on social media. If you get a post out of me, I must have remembered to do something that day.
Hopefully you do this time around. I'm just gonna.
But yeah, I will be like. I'll try and be active on social media. So if there's something that's like said to me or sent to me, I will pick it up eventually. So, and it's not to say I'm ignoring people or anything. It's just I was never good at like the social media thing. I was always kind of like more to myself. But
Yeah.
I will be posting something eventually. So just follow and see what happens. You never know what I could be posting.
Excellent. So yeah, that's it, everyone. So thank you, Luke, for coming on.
No
And
worries.
awesome. And so obviously, as every usual, like, subscribe, do whatever you do, comment, follow him on Twitter. It is his Twitter.
On Twitter.
Yeah, and you'll get one post a year. But
Yeah, exactly.
but it'll be a good one.
It'll be good. I'll make sure it's a good one.
Excellent. But yeah, goodbye.
If you follow after this, I will. If I get 10 followers after this, I will tweet. There you go.
that's what a man.
Also,
Yeah.
if you see me at shows, buy my merch.
See, that's how we're going to end it. That's what I want to end it on. Goodbye, everyone.